Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are gathered here to talk about a topic that is a critical issue that affects us all in the digital age, data breaches and their impacts on social trust. As we increasingly rely on digital systems for personal, financial, and professional activities, the security of our data becomes paramount. Data breaches not only jeopardize sensitive information, but also erode trust between individuals, organizations, and society at large. For today's agenda, we will cover several key areas. First, understanding what is a data breach, different types of data breaches that occur, the legal and regulatory frameworks that protect our data, common causes of data breaches, notable data breaches that have occurred in the recent years, the impacts of data breaches across organizations and individuals at large, the preventive measures, and the incident response plan that organizations must implement when dealing with data breaches. Lastly, we have a Q&A and our sources. So without further ado, Jack, please take it away.
Hello, I'm Jack. What is a data breach? So, in an abstract sense, a data breach is when unauthorized individuals gain access to sensitive information that, if exposed to the public, would cause damage to the business or people that the data is related to. Now, these unauthorized individuals can be considered threats, and they can come from internal or external sources, and can have intentional or malicious or unintentional means purposes with that data. Some of the information that can be exposed is personally identifiable information like your social security number, phone number, email address, physical address. Could be company data, like where they store the information, where all the good stuff is at, or it could be user data, like how you use your devices, how you use their services. Some of the things to consider is that business relationships are built on trust. And this trust is that they keep your data safe. Some of the ways that privacy is defined, like in the Constitution for the Fourth Amendment, which is a physical right to privacy, but is adapted loosely to fit some digital privacy rights, right? Like in California, Consumer Privacy Act, the CCPA, has some tenets that ultimately seek to define digital privacy, like your right to know what data is being collected and how it's being used and whether it's being shared or sold. You also have the right to delete, opt out, and not be discriminated against. Now, an even better form of digital privacy, which is probably the gold standard for digital privacy right now, is the GDPR. The GDPR this is some non-exhaustive list of the things that the GDPR defines as digital privacy, but data collection transparency, they have to inform individuals about what they collect and why they're collecting it and how it will be used. It has to be narrowly tailored to a specific purpose, right? You have to consent to give your information. They can't just take it and then hide it. You have the right to access the information that they take at any time, as well as update it. You also have the right to erase or right to be forgotten, which means that at any time, under any circumstance, you can opt to have your information be deleted from any business digitally, right? And then additionally, you have the right to notification. So if your information is leaked, is exposed, and they're notified of it, they need to let you know within 72 hours of that data breach. And all of this serves you and your right to privacy digitally. Your right to correct, your right to delete, or transpose even, which is to send your information from one organization to the other. And with that, I'll send you on to Melanie.
Thank you, Jack. Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa. Although there is legal and regulatory framework regarding people's privacy, there are still constant breaches out there. Just last year, in the year 2023, there were about 3,000 cases. Some common causes for these kind of data breaches are things like human errors, such as falling for social engineering tactics, cyber attacks like ransomware and SQL injections, weak security measures like using weak passwords and unpatched systems. There are many more causes out there, but let's move on to some notable data breaches. For starters, Marriott's data breach, which started as early as 2014, but wasn't discovered by Marriott until 2018. Marriott claimed that their advanced encryption standard 128, which is a 128-bit key to encrypt and decrypt, could never be breached. Turns out they weren't even using AES 128. Instead, they were using a hash method named Secure Hash Algorithm 1, which isn't even considered encryption. They had lied to their customers. Capital One and T-Mobile also had data breaches, resulting in a combined estimated total of about 140 million customers with compromised information. Cybersecurity is a must to help prevent people's sensitive information from being leaked, like names, social security numbers, and birthdays. These breaches are no joke. That can cause serious impacts, which my peer Latif will discuss.
Thanks, Melly, for sharing some of the recent data breaches. Let's now focus on the impact of the data breaches and explore how we can fortify our digital fortress with key preventive measures against these threats. So, first of all, I wanted to discuss about the impact of data breaches. Data breaches not only cost a fortune, but also put a strain on resources and finances. So if we talk about the financial impact, the cost of remediation, which involves significant expenses for investigation and the system restorations, and also the legal fees and the fines. For example, we can take the example of the Marriott, the data breach, which happened in November 2018. So they face a proposed £99 million fine by the UK's Information Commissioner's Office under the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, for failing to protect the consumer data. So which later reduced to £18.4 million, but still it cost them a huge amount of money. And it also comes with a reputational damage. Reputation is hard to build and easy to ruin. Protecting data is crucial for maintaining trust of the customer and the relationship. So the breaches can drive customers away and damage long-term relationships. So in case of the Marriott again, that's what happened to them. They lost a customer base, and their reputation was tarnished. Which led to the negative, lasting negative impact on their business. A data breach can cripple the critical business operations, which cause delays and recovery costs that affect the bottom line. So it not only put the business behind of their operations, but also cost them a fortune. And we talk about the legal and the regulatory the consequences. So we already touched base. The Marriott, they had to give away their business. They lost their business because of that, and the legal consequences were the GDPR fines. If we talk about the tiered fines, the GDPR has a tiered approach to fines based on the severity of the violation. So this fine ranged from 10 million the euro to 20 million euro. So that's what happened to Marriott. And last but not the least, the national security threats. National security can be jeopardized with a data breach. And illustrating that data breaches extend beyond corporate impact to the global implications. So, for example, the OPM operational personnel management breach in 2015, where sensitive data of 21 million government employees were compromised. So that was a big one. Now, with a clear understanding of the severe impact data breaches can have, let's now turn our attention to how we can effectively fortify our defenses. So the first of all, the data encryption. Encrypting data safeguards it from unauthorized access, whether it's in transit or at rest. So the protection of the sensitive information by making it unreadable to unauthorized user. Basically, it's an encryption. So it will ensures that it will ensure the data remains secure during the transmission and when it's stored. The next is the access control. So implementing a strong authentication and access control is essential for minimizing exposure. So it includes MFA, which is a multi-factor authentication, and the role-based access control to restrict the access based on the user roles. So, for example, and we can, in a different companies nowadays, they're implementing this multi-factor authentication, which is the impact of it is very positive. Now, the zero trust policy. Adopting a zero trust approach ensures that every access request is continuously verified. It embraces the principle of never trust, always verify, which requires authentication and validation for every access attempt. Whether it's an administrative privileges we're talking about, or is we're talking about any kind of, even CEO, he has to go through with that policy. And then the regular software updates and the patches, which the purpose of the regular software update is to keep system update from the crucial vulnerabilities, which can affect the system and the business operation. And the last one is security training. Educating employees on security best practices helps prevent breaches caused by human error. So it involves providing ongoing training and awareness programs to equip employees with a knowledge base so they can recognize and respond to potential threats. So to wrap up, I've covered some impacts of data breaches and defensive strategies. I will hand over the floor to Alex now, who will touch base the critical aspects of an incident response plan. There you go, Alex.
Thank you, Latif. Hello, everyone. My name is Annabelle Alex Gigas. I will be walking you through the essential steps on how organizations can manage and respond to a security incident. This consists of 6 primary phases: detection and identification, containment, limiting the scope of the breach, eradication of the threat, recovery, and post-incident analysis. Let's explore each phase in detail. First, with detection and identification, the first phase is all about spotting potential security issues before they escalate. We begin by closely monitoring the systems for any unusual activities. This includes using tools for anomaly detection, which helps identify deviations from normal behavior. We also use intrusion detection systems. These are crucial as they alert the organizations to potential breaches in real time. Additionally, organizations will analyze system logs and allow to trace and investigate suspicious activities. Regular penetration testing is also very important. It simulates potential attacks to find vulnerabilities before real attackers do. The next step is containment. Once an organization has detected a breach, the next step is to contain it. This phase includes focusing on limiting the damage by isolating affected systems. They would need to segment the network and isolate any compromised devices to prevent the attack from spreading. Effective containment helps minimize the impact and keeps the breach from worsening. Next step would be to limiting the scope of the breach. After containing the incident, it's vital to limit its scope. This involves updating passwords and revoking unauthorized access. By changing all the compromised credentials and removing any unauthorized users, organizations reduce the risk of further exploitation. This step is crucial for preventing additional damage and controlling the breach's impact. Then is the eradication phase. Here, the objective is to remove the root cause of the breach. This means eliminating any malware that was introduced and addressing the vulnerabilities that were exploited. Patching these vulnerabilities ensures that the same attack vector can't be used again, effectively closing off the attacker's entry points. With that in place is the recovery phase. With the threat neutralized, the focus shifts to recovery. This phase involves restoring the systems to normal operations and begin by restoring systems from a clean backup and verifying their integrity. Additionally, communicate with the affected parties and stakeholders to keep them informed about the incident and the steps taken to resolve it. This helps in maintaining trust and transparency. Finally, it's the post-incident analysis phase, where the organizations review the incident and see what they can learn from it. They analyze what went wrong and why. The organizations use these insights to improve the security measures, updating the incident response plan and security protocols based on the findings to prevent future occurrences. In conclusion, to summarize, managing a security incident effectively involves detection and identification, containment, limiting the scope of the breach, eradication, recovery, and post-incident analysis. By following these steps, organizations can effectively handle and mitigate the impact of security breaches. Thank you for your attention and commitment to security. Please stay vigilant. So for our questions that we have for the class is, what role do you think regulatory bodies should play in restoring trust post-breach? Can organizations close down due to the severity of the security breach? And what does a customer need to do if their information was accessed due to an organization's data breach? These are our references. Thank you once again.